Thank you. Before Senator Sass leaves, I just can't thank you enough for the passion and the persuasion you bring to these issues. You speak from the heart, you speak with reason, you make a lot of sense, and over time you will prevail. Just stick with it. Your day will come. And what he's saying is if you try to abort a child and the child survives the abortion, shouldn't the doctor and the nurses and everybody involved treat the child the same as if it happened, they came into the world some other way? I think the answer is yes. I mean, really, these two pieces of legislation are about us as a nation. This is, 2020. Who are we as Americans? It's odd to me that we even need to have a discussion about this. I'm just perplexed that this is even a problem. Abortion is legal in the United States. So there are certain restrictions on it, but I just can't believe we can't rally around the idea if the baby survives the procedure and is alive and breathing and functioning, that medical science doesn't kick in to save the baby. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what happened. What happened to our country that we even talking about this? It's 2020, for God's sakes. It's not 1020. And anyway, just hang in there, Ben. Your day will come. So my legislation is... been doing this for a few years now, that we're one of 7 nations in the world that allows abortion on demand at 20 weeks. North Korea, Vietnam, China, Singapore, the Netherlands, and Canada. So what would this legislation do? At 20 weeks, this is about the 5th month in the birthing process. It's called the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. Now, why do we call it that? Medical science has determined that a child at 20 weeks is capable of feeling excruciating pain. So if there's an operation to save a child's life or to repair a medical defect at 20 weeks, they provide anesthesia to the child because during the surgery, the child feels pain. And you can see when a child's poked, they actually repel against the poking. The bottom line is I find it odd that medical science requires anesthesia to save the baby's life, but during that same period, you can dismember the child. And that's what we're talking about here. What kind of nation are we? At the 5th month, now this is 20 weeks into the birthing process, we're one of 7 nations that allow abortion on demand. There's exceptions for the life of the mother, that hard decision. If the mother's life is impacted by the child, then we'll leave that up to the family. The pregnancy is a result of rape or incest. But beyond that, we want to eliminate abortion on demand at the 20-week period because I would argue that doesn't make us a better nation. It doesn't advance anybody's cause. The bottom line is we know, based on medical science, that this child has nerve endings intact. Medical encyclopedias encourage young parents to sing to their unborn child during this period of development because they can begin to associate your voice and recognize who you are. I find it odd that we would encourage young parents to sing to their unborn child at 20 weeks. We require anesthesia to save the child's life, but we're also a country that allows the child to be dismembered. Makes like no sense to me. They've got exceptions that make sense, life of the mother, result of rape or incest where there was no choice at all. The bottom line is that these 2 pieces of legislation are going to continue to be advanced until they pass. It takes a while for America to kind of get focused on what we're saying here because abortion is an uncomfortable topic to talk about, particularly at the early stages of the pregnancy. But what Senator Sass is saying, in the case of the child surviving an abortion, there's really not much to talk about. We should protect the life that is now in being. The baby survived. I don't know why the baby survived. I don't know how the baby survived. I just know that decent people would want to come to the child's aid once you do survive. And just imagine for an hour and a half what it must be like for the baby to have survived the abortion to be left unattended for an hour and a half to 3 hours. That says a lot about us as a nation. Now, I just think we're better than that. It's kind of odd that we even have to have this debate, but apparently we do, because this happens more than you would ever think. That babies actually survive abortion, and the rules in this country are that you just let it die. It's no longer required care. That, to me, is, as Senator Seth said, barbaric. It doesn't make us a better people, and it really doesn't affect the abortion debate because the baby survived. Now, my legislation is about us as a nation, too. How does abortion on demand in the 5th month advance the cause of America? I don't think it does. We have exceptions in those instances where it's a tragic choice between the life of the mother and the unborn child, and in cases of rape or incest, which are tragic and criminal. But generally speaking, we would like to get ourselves out of a club of 7 nations that allow abortion on demand at a time when the parents are encouraged to sing to the child, and you have to provide anesthesia to save the child's life because you wouldn't want to operate on a baby in a fashion to hurt the child. I dare say that if you're a doctor and you try to save a baby's life at 20 weeks through surgery and you don't provide anesthesia, you're going to wind up getting yourself in trouble. I find it odd that the law would allow the dismemberment of the child, even with anesthesia. But that is where we are. And to Senator Sass, your articulate spokesman for your legislation, one day we'll prevail. It took 15 years to pass the late-term abortion ban. It's going to take a while, but our day will come. And at the end of the day, the sooner America can get this right, the better off we'll be. With that, I yield.